Here's Mark Meadows. Despite the fact that we know there's been reporting to this effect, we've heard firsthand accounts from postal workers that the post office has been decommissioning postal sorting machines. Here is Mark Meadows on that question.
Are you saying that sorting machines have not been taken offline and removed? Are you asserting that did not happen?
I'm saying that sorting machines between now and the election will not be taken offline. Listen, I had postal under my
the
committee.
ones that have been taken offline in the last couple of months.
No, but listen, here's what I'm saying is, when you look at it, the normal process of doing all of this, Jake, I had the postal system under. I had the only bipartisan bill to actually deal with the $146 billion loss that the Postal Service has been will see over the next 10 years. And so when you're looking at this, these postal machines and the drawdown, that was a 2006 bill that has been implemented that I don't necessarily agree with, but that's not this Postmaster General that did that. That was the previous Postmaster General under Obama.
I get that. Why were these sorting machines taken offline? Why were they taken offline? And why have
Jake,
the Postmaster
you keep
General
saying that, so get your producer, Jake, you keep saying that. Get your producer to share where exactly those sorting machines were taken offline. Let them whisper in your ear, because what I'm telling you is you're picking up on a narrative that's not based on facts.
Okay, he's lying. We know postal sorting machines were taken offline and destroyed. NBC News reported on Friday that an internal document showed that Postmaster General Louis DeJoy is decommissioning 671 of the USPS's letter sorting machines across the U.S. Now, maybe they have put a halt to that. Meadows was very clear. From now until Election Day, we're not going to decommission any more machines. They got caught. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see in hearings, hopefully, in the coming days, maybe a couple weeks, whether DeJoy answers that question honestly, under oath, because these machines are quite large. They're quite expensive. There's a lot of people who saw them and saw that they were gone the next day. It's going to be a little bit difficult to lie about these things.
Also, saying the Democrats did it too doesn't make it okay. That's like not an adequate defense for stuff that the Republicans are doing.
The bottom line is that, like, and I would like to get more on the legislative history of that. My understanding is that there were people trying to get out of town when this bill was passed in 2006. It was controlled by the Republicans. There were definitely Democratic co-sponsors for this bill. It was all voice vote. I mean, all what do you call it? It was not a recorded vote. It was all just a voice vote.
Yeah,
I think
a voice vote happens
consent.
when something is not that controversial, right?
When nobody wants to put up a big fight against it. And I don't know what the thinking was. It would be interesting to see some reporting on what was going on contemporaneously, because I know for a fact there were Democrats complaining about it at that time. And I don't know if it's one of those situations where they're like, we can't stop this because we don't control Congress. We don't control the Senate. There's no doubt that there was Democratic co-sponsors, but like, it's not controversial that there's a significant segment of the Democratic Party, and certainly in 2006 was even more dominant, I would imagine, where there were corporatists who would be very excited to privatize the Postal Service.
Oh, yeah. All those Obama appointees that Bernie blocked, that people are like mad at him for, they were trying to privatize the Postal Service. There was a Reagan guy. There was a payday lending lobbyist guy who I assume he wanted on there to block postal banking. Like, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, a certain number of them, I think, have to be Republicans, but it didn't have to be those Republicans that he was attempting to appoint. And there were the Postal Service Union, the NAACP, there was a whole array of leftist organizations who wanted those members of the Board of Governors to be blocked. So that's obviously taking place 4 years later. But it would be interesting to see like an actual TikTok and good reporting on this, because I know contemporaneously I had people on when that was happening talking about it and characterizing it as a Republican initiative. Now, like I say, there may have been Democrats involved in it, but I don't think it's quite as easy to say that it's been both parties' agenda to privatize the post office, or guess what? The post office will be privatized. That is the one thing when they
have been making cuts.
Huh?
I believe they were successful in making some cuts, right?
Well, at the very least, they were. Well, it wasn't a question of cuts. It was a question of, that legislation, the two biggest parts of that legislation.
Oh, right. The pension funding and the not having the cap on what they could charge for stamps, right? I feel like I'm at school right now doing a quiz.
Yeah. There you go. You got that right. You get an A. But there it is. Mark Meadows, just completely, out and out lying. That's not terribly surprising. But I hope that the broader sort of understanding of the post office, I hope we get postal banking out of this. But B, I also hope that people understand sort of the dynamic of the postal service, that it's a perfect example of why government can do things better than private industry. Because I got news for you. If you live out in East, West, North, or South, bum F, you ain't getting mail if it's privatized unless you want to pay an arm and a leg for it.
Mm-hmm. We really waxed poetic on the Postal Service this week, me and Sean. And one of our tests for if a government institution is worth defending or not is, would we still have this under communism? And I think with the mail, the answer is definitely yes.
There you go.